Today's meme of the day is...
perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Lads Discuss Death Battle. On vacation, but still joining us is your only mate.
I'm in Spain right now.
And joining us, who's not in Spain, is Sean here.
I may not be in Spain, but I caught some RWBY fans trying to skate uphill today.
That's a good segue. Hey, for once, we finally had a good intro this year. God damn, it took us nearly a year, but we got there.
Yippee!
Yeah, so we're here to discuss the previous episode as well as the next time that has gotten a lot of people hyped. And I'm a little hyped because it's not an episode that's been revealed. Kind of. I mean, it kind of was revealed, but not by name. We'll get to that when we talk about the episode.
Yeah.
Of course, though, starting this episode, we got 4 comments that piqued my interest, and this one regarding Hulk versus Godzilla had me perplexed. This is from BlueSky. I'm probably butchering that name. I'm the only one that notices some weird racism with Japan and Japanese-related stuff. And then I asked, do tell, because I was actually very curious about this. He said, well, there's the fact that they called Rivals Hulk model anime-looking, apparently identifies they, even though the game was made in America and someone called it Japanesey. Like, how can you say a word like Japanese without a thing it sounds like some kind of slur? Mate, 2 things about that. Marvel Rivals wasn't even made in America. It was made in China.
I think it was technically NetEase Seattle was the team that initially worked on Marvel Rivals, but then they had to be let go, so the main devs are in China. I think that's how that story goes.
Right, okay, fair enough. I thought it was primarily just made in China. The other thing...
Everything is.
And then, Japanesey is not a slur. I can say what the actual slur is for Japanese people, but surprisingly, I don't want to say the actual slur. And also, this was actually confirmed by Brobuscus on Brobuscast himself. Japanesey, and I just used that word, I made it up, because I thought it just sounded funny. Japanesey, just add it to the Bill Dictionary. Turns out that's an actual word. It turns out, I'm trying to remember from when Brobus said this in the private chat, Japanese is describing an item or an object or an art piece that comes off as very Japanese looking. So I unintentionally said something right. So
congrats!
Yeah, but it's... I don't think I even need to say this. The lads aren't here to talk racism, slur, politics. Like, we'll take the piss out of stuff like that, but we're not on here saying slurs. Like, and
Well, within reason, there is one ironic thing I could say about something that happened not that long ago.
Yeah, right. But it's
I'm not gonna go there publicly.
Yeah, like I'm not here to just cuss you out. I'm just saying if you're personally offended by that, I might sound harsh for this, that's a you problem. Because, by definition, it's not a slur. It means as it's described. I'll even put it on screen for you. The next comment, I believe this was on our prediction episode. This is from Robert Curley. I'm wondering what the episode after this will be, because it'll be sometime in October, so it'll be odds that it'll be a Halloween-themed death battle. And apparently it's confirmed that we'll be getting a live-action fight this year, and none of the pre-revealed matchups really work as live-action fights, aside from maybe Light versus Columbo, but that's a bonus episode, so I might disregard it. That means it's probably going to be something that hasn't been revealed yet. Blade versus Buffy. Wow, Robert, you are a prophet.
He's the
Unlike the other guy.
one.
Unlike you, Robert, you don't actually have someone who works on Death Battle that tries to spoil things to us. So, wow.
Robert was just like, I see all now.
So, comment of the day.
Robert's third eye has been opened.
Robert Curley, you've taken up Turok's spot as comment of the year. I'm sorry, Turok. And then, now this is regarding our third topic. We have two comments I wanted to bring up. One from Ratface, quadruple seven, or oh no, triple seven.
Oh, Rat Race, like 77776 already taken.
I guess so. It's like Ratface 777. Hi, and now I'm going to kind of call out this comment, but I'll read what the comment's saying first one. Now, this is regarding our third topic, if death is necessary in Death Battle anymore. Hi, long-time viewer of Death Battle here. I'm going to get critical, so fair warning. In my opinion, no, they are not necessary.
This.
In my opinion, no, they are not necessary. I think they're actually negative influence with a massive following of people who don't conduct their own research and just nod in their heads. People like to use Death Battle as much of a kind of authority in verse debate, which they certainly are not. I don't really have much respect for them at this point. One reason is many of their fights are extremely one-sided as a symptom of doing matchups based entirely on similarities between matchups and fighters. Another reason is that in many episodes their research come off as dishonest, either because it's biased or incompetent, I can't say. They also do way too many fights with Marvel DC characters who are distinguishedly overpowered. Imagine how many other interesting fights we could have got if we get fewer comic episodes. Fans, whatever series they're doing episodes, can already do much better calculation and make more convincing arguments. So basically, the only reason why someone would want to watch Death Battle is for the animation, but sometimes even they aren't the best. And even they went ahead to say, like, I have no trust that they'll do Mix of RWBY versus Maka Justice. They're probably going to find somewhere to give RWBY the win. Well, Ratface, you are wrong on so many accounts of this comment.
I wish.
Like, let's go over that last comment. No, RWBY didn't win. And did you even watch the episode? Like, as in, like, the video that you comment underneath? At no point were we talking about Death Battle as a whole. We're talking about the deaths. And I don't mean to... I guess I am kind of putting you on the spot here. If this is your opinion on Death Battle, hey, respect you. This is your opinion about a show. Fair enough. One, if you're just going to come here and insult our viewers and other fans just because you don't agree that they might agree with Death Battle, you know, that's just incredibly immature and stuff like that. It feels as though this comment is from someone who hasn't watched Death Battle in a long time. Oh, too many Marvel DC fights. Have you not seen some of the last 3 years of Death Battle? Like,
Yeah, there might have been too many during one season, but since then they've cut down. Also, I'm sorry, Marvel and DC are like one of the most iconic franchises ever, which will get the episode's recognitions, and these people have bills to pay and families to feed.
And all those episodes just do really well view-wise.
Yeah, like, you know, if these are your opinions on the show, you know, fair enough, that's your opinion. But one, leave this comment under a video that's kind of talking about show as a whole, and don't just come onto a Death Battle video assuming what we're talking about just to rant and belittle people who like Death Battle and people who watch Death Battle and people who are work on Death Battle. Like, yeah, there's probably people who've done better calculations. I agree with that. There's even been people who've done better calculations regarding this episode. But overall, this show is entertainment, and you're just taking it like they have a negative influence on the community. That is just how? By giving their opinions. Yeah, so Ratface, I mean, no disrespect for you, but one, you know, if you want a bit critical and stuff like that, save it for when we're actually talking about Death Battle as a whole, not just in like subjects and actual episodes. You know, like actually contribute to the topic we're talking about. Onto a much more...
Also, that whole thing about Marvel and DC being too overpowered. Yeah, that's why they've done nothing but lose so far this year.
Right. So let's actually move to a much more positive comment from Starshock. I can't believe I never thought I'd say positive and Starshock in the same sentence. And it says, and this is regarding our third topic, which he actually acknowledged the topic. I'm personally a bit split. On one hand, the death requirement feels like a leftover aspect from the early 2000s. Free Edgy 5 Me. I love that name. Anyone who has that name, you deserve a praise. Phase internet content was going through, and I feel like it wasn't literally in the title, we wouldn't be having conversation at all. On the other hand, it still gives the show a unique identity as seen with episodes like White vs. Mitsu. The lack of apparent death can be jarring or distracting at best, and I feel like a cop-out at worst. Also, I find it funny, make use of Starscream vs. Rainbow Dash as an example of the fight not ending in death, considering that people are starting to realise that episode sucks, and I've bellyached about silly kid show beats serious shows. Yeah, no kidding. Enough already, and the lack of depth is pretty specific and doesn't affect the quality anyway. I mean, regarding that last comment, I still just like that episode just because it pisses off Proboscis.
Damn. I think to be fair, like there are some episodes, and people just immediately just think of the Death Duo, specifically Omni-Man versus Homelander. Anyone?
Yeah, like I kind of get what they're saying. Like, if Death Battle wasn't called Death Battle, like there was another verse show that came out that was made by people who are big fans of Death Battle. I think it was called like Crossover X. I haven't actually watched them in a while. They didn't upload as often because they didn't have the budget Death Battle had back then.
Yeah, no, they had Michael Starr play Wolverine in one episode.
They did, and it featured my character being butchered. Sad times. But like, there was some character fights there. It didn't end in a death. One was Spyro versus Yoshi. That was an episode, and I believe one was Meta Knight versus Zero. So, like, but I guess the idea is that, okay, because the characters, the whole idea of Death Battle, this is what Ben's even said on, like, conventions. Like, we're trying to figure out if all these characters would go all out, who would overall win. And sadly, most of the time, that leads to them, you know, being lethal. Like, you know, Superman versus Goku, like, if they were to go all out, someone's gonna die. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah, also, I guess, like, because, like, yeah, you even said it, like, RWBY lost this episode. If they had it so that, like, it was like, nah, you know what, I'm just going to leave her alone and left. How many people would be pissed that, of all characters, RWBY was the one that was spared?
Yeah, I mean, granted, she might have, you know, depending on, like, how we go with it, but, you know, that's beside the point. But yeah.
Back to something with this later.
Yeah, so, you know, I can kind of see from both angles regarding this. Like, I feel like if Death Battle was made now, maybe it wouldn't even be called Death Battle. You know, I could definitely see...
Maybe it would be called Who Would Win?
Nice callback.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where it's like, okay, look, like... the episode came out during... Yeah, I will agree. It did definitely came out during an edgy phase, the 2010s. I mean, for I say, that was around when we had, like, Infamous and Prototype.
And yet it took us this long to get Cole versus Alex.
Indeed. But anyway, yeah, thank you for your comments, people. If you want to get your comments shouted out in a video, or pretty much mocked, given what you might say, yeah, be sure to leave your comments on
Judged.
the video. Yeah, we'll say judged. We weren't judging too harshly. But yeah, so let's talk about the 200th Death Battle episode. Ruby Rose versus Maka Albarn. No, Maka versus Albarn. Albarn. I just thought I'd bring back that joke. Okay then, so for the 200th episode, a big milestone. This episode was... Yeah, it was pretty good. Definitely in my top 5 this year.
I would actually go as far as to say, like, this is probably the best milestone episode.
And you know what, to add to that, I would even
So
say
that
this-
being
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
real competition is... Its only real competition is Megazord versus Voltron and the OG Goku v Superman.
Yeah. But... not only just that, like, I'd even dare say this episode is perhaps the best RWBY and Soul Eater episode. Now, okay, I know we've only had...
Soul Eater episode, yes, I wouldn't say that about RWBY.
Really?
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, this will be an interesting conversation, because that's pretty much what everyone's been saying, like, that this is the best RWBY episode.
Well...
So, yeah, let's actually get to talking about this episode. So, first of all, once again, I know we've constantly praised this. Editing wise, this was very stylish. I liked how both RWBY and Maka's analysis captured the feel and style of like both RWBY and Soul Eater when they were talking about their respective characters.
Yeah, I do have like one gripe with RWBY's analysis.
Yeah.
It's like when they address her arc in Volume 9 and pretty much just sum it up as, she got over it.
Well, that would be a question, probably, I would say, for the writer and the editor, and of course, the researcher of RWBY herself, DJ Tiki. Yes, he wore 3 hats this episode. Give the man a break.
Yeah, I mean, you also got to keep in mind, like, they probably didn't want to acknowledge the controversial crossover of the Justice League because they kind of continued on the arc into the crossover film. So they're probably like, right, let's just say she got over it because at the end of Volume 9, she kind of did. And I think they also there was already a lot they had to bring up with both characters that it makes sense that it would probably have to just be like, yeah, she got over it. And just move on to the other badass stuff. Also, something I never realised until I watched this episode first time, I never realised when RWBY was caressing her crescent rose, her cheek kind of clipped through the side of it. Yeah, I didn't realise until watching this death battle. Like, yeah, there's a moment when her face, like, her hair and face clips through her weapon.
Oh, to be fair,
do you mean that moment in Volume 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
where she says, "Today I get to let my sweetheart do the talking."
No, it's when she's caressing it outside during. I think this is episode 2.
To be fair,
oh, in front of Beacon. Okay, but she caresses her weapon a lot.
I think what Bill's saying is like he never noticed the clipping that RWBY's model does to the weapon, which that happens in mocap, especially if you don't have mocap weapons that work.
It's just amazing. I've watched RWBY.
And considering that wasn't really animation software that they were using.
Yeah. Like, it's just something like I've been watching RWBY for years, and usually I'm quite good at spotting like errors like that. Mostly just take the piss out of it. But it's like, how have I never noticed that before? Like, I guess where I'm just really into the story and stuff like that, it's just not really something I paid attention to. Also, I loved the little edit when they showed like just how big RWBY is compared to a scythe, like how fluid the animation was, like matching the text with the weapon and stuff. That's editing I wish I was on par with.
To be fair, I think they use like professional stuff like Adobe or Vegas.
But also,
maybe one of those.
I never even realized this until I was rewatching. I love the fact like next to RWBY's like height number, you just see a little font, small, bracket small. It's like, wow, man. And then there's no scythe, big.
Yeah, and something I want to call out in RWBY's analysis on the sidebar, and man, they did it again.
They did what again?
They put a person in the likes, and RWBY fans went nuts.
Shocking no one.
Yep. In RWBY's likes, they included Penny.
Oh no, what have you done, Death Battle?
Oh, nuts and boat shippers rejoice, I guess.
I think one of the funniest things that, talking about that background, when I was watching with Violet, was like, he's like, wait, she was a VTuber? I'm like, oh yeah. Actually did crossovers with other big VTubers for Lethal Company, I believe it was.
And what did a reaction to Goku vs. Superman? I'm not joking. RWBY Rose reacted to Goku v Superman.
No, I haven't actually seen that video, which is surprising. I was watching a lot of VTubers reacting to that episode.
Yeah, so I guess canonically RWBY knows what Death Battle is.
Also, I had to kind of give a shout out to this because I respect this soundbite. The fact they had the freaking Roblox oof sound effect when RWBY got punched. Like, it was like, come on, did I edit this video? Because that sounds like something I would do.
Like, when you have an editing tag team of Marshall and DJ Tiki, you're going to be in for a lot of laughs and unexpected sound effects.
Do you know what? Now I'm just gonna add the cold screen now to that moment, so I feel like that would be better.
I also just like when they edit it in, but it's also a gun.
Yeah, you had to do that.
Yeah, they worked on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Actually, you were speaking about Violet Purple earlier, Sean. One of the weird critiques that he brought up was that I think it was around the end of RWBY's analysis when they quoted like the intro, like I think it was the Volume 1 intro, or it could have been the Volume 2 intro, as an end card, which by the way was a good callback.
Yeah, that was Volume 1.
It was Volume 1, right. So, you know, good callback. So like, I know that song. And his critique was that, oh, well, people won't get that. And I'm just like, okay, well...
Sorry, what?
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
you know,
even if you're not a RWBY fan, you don't get that. By that logic, I guess people wouldn't understand.
Then people wouldn't.
Master plan. Like, oh, I guess that exit is terrible because who will get that unless you're an Eggman fan?
I was more so thinking by that logic, people wouldn't understand the ending goal from Maka's analysis.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but I didn't mean
It's
this analysis.
not because I don't Soul Eater.
I will actually confess, thanks to this episode, I have watched the first episode of Soul Eater. You know what, son of a bitch, I'm in.
Hey, it was made in 08 and 09 and it still holds up.
I was just saying, watching the English dub, people, I am sorry. But yeah.
Look, Bill likes Laura Bailey, guys. Give him a break.
She's awesome, alright? Something though, like, some people have criticized of this, and I've kind of wanted to bring out for RWBY's analysis quickly before we move to Marcus. People were saying that they feel as though RWBY was given too many buffs regarding, like, the Adam scaling and as well as, like, the kicking the Grim into the spaceship thing, which I'm like, mate, I kind of want your opinion on this, like, 'cause you're a bit more of a bigger RWBY fan than us. Like, do you think this feels, I don't know, like a bit too much?
Well, the Adam scaling I 1000% agree with. Also, you remember brought up there was that comment I found the I'm easy being a RWBY fan.
Yeah.
There was more to it. That person I will not name, but I did give a hint in a VC in the server.
Stupid Grim.
It's Lightspeed RWBY is never gonna happen. And with this Adam feat, along with the whole, like, we know they've gotten better, way more than a 2x multiplier, so yeah. RWBY characters can compete with Lightspeed stuff.
I think if we got... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna be...
Sorry, mate, you were cutting out. What was that?
Oh, I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. I'm gonna be the bigger person.
Yeah, I mean, we both know who you're talking about. He's a real dick. But anyway, like, okay, I can kind of buy, like, maybe RWBY scale into, like, Adam's Lightspeed things. Like, fair enough. I mean, it's all good because of me with scaling. I know they say, like, oh, if you scale to Blake who's for Adam, most of Adam's fights with Blake, he's won them, and Blake spent most time running away. But it's like, on the other hand, though, RWBY has kept...
Yeah, but it's also the fact that she...
So, it's like, okay, that's not too unbelievable. I definitely agree with the whole spaceship feat, though, because, yes, RWBY did kick...
And parried a lot of his attacks.
Yeah, so, like, as for the Grim smashing the spaceship, I feel like that was more so the Grim than RWBY herself. But, you know, that's my opinion on that. But, yeah, I don't think the feats for RWBY were too outlandish. But there is...
Oh, other feats they could have... went...
Oh,
I guess...
Wow.
Hotel Wi-Fi!
God damn you, hotel!
I mean, I can understand people not understanding why RWBY can scale to some of these characters, but what was the name of... I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it was one of the Aesops, I believe, that they said it was also fair game.
Oh yeah, the Aesops guy.
Like Harrigan? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I can totally buy the Aesop thing, though. That one is actually valid, because we actually see RWBY fighting these guys and training with them, so it's like... That I can buy. But this will go into a complaint I kind of have regarding Maka, but this will probably go towards the end of the analysis after I watched a few reactions and even spoke to my friend Paige again, and I saw a short video by... I can't remember his name. He's this guy that does short videos, and he goes like, well, folks, it's that time again. Can't remember his name.
Classic Man D.
Yeah, because he does a lot of, like, talks regarding Death Battle afterwards, and he's really funny. I think he even used to do reaction videos to, like, Mandalorian and stuff like that. But yeah, let's actually talk about Maka and Soul Eater, because I was already kind of familiar with Soul Eater thanks to, well, Cronus episode. But again, because I was only going based on Maka through, like, images and people showing her as well as this Death Battle recommendation, I never quite knew her personality. Like, I kind of got an idea of what Soul's personality was like. But after what Sean said in the last discussion, and even now watching it from the first episode and then watching this, I'm like, huh, wow, Maka is a bit more cheerful and kind of like playful then. Well, not playful, I guess, more so, I guess kind of laid back.
Optimistic?
Optimistic, yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, I'd definitely say she's a lot more optimistic and even kind of like, in a way, very relatable with like how she reacts to like schoolwork. Like, Jesus Christ, like the clips they showed in like the death battle, like her, it looks like she got a question wrong and then she's humiliated. I'm like, I've been there. And again, similar to like, especially since I've watched the first episode of Soul Eater now, you know what, the editing, I was like, going back to watching this in preparation for this discussion, I was like, oh wow, yeah, they really did capture like the style of the anime with these little edits. And I also just kind of like the fact in multiple scenes when they actually have like the moon on screen, like whether it's in the background when it's showing her feet and stuff like that, you see the moon like laughing in the background. I'm like, you know what? That's a nice detail.
That's just the creepy factor of Soul Edge right there. Not Soul Edge, Soul Eater.
I think the
Soul
sun
Edge
does the same thing, doesn't it?
Well, I just meant like when it's in the background, when you're looking in the analysis portion, you just see it like laughing constantly. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That they could have just easily had it in the background, but the fact that you see it animated and laughing, like that's pretty good.
Yeah, like when the technique slide show up, for example, is what I believe he means.
Yeah, or even when they have like, I just got to it now, when they show the little souls on screen, you can see it in the background. It's like, I'm still here laughing. It's like, I want to be involved in this episode.
It's like Soul Eater's signature is that moon.
And also the little edit they did from the manga panel when like Maka was trying to control Soul, but they weren't working in sync. The little like wobbly sort of animation they did for that was just great. Like it reminds me like, do you remember did you guys ever do this in like high school and secondary school when you got a pencil and you like wobbled it, even though it's not actually wobbling?
Yes.
Yeah, like it just looks like it 'cause you're moving it up and down really quickly. That's what it kind of reminded me of, just like her trying to hold it, but it's like bending at the same time. Also, she's 13 years old. Well, at least at the time Soul Eater started. I was like, I don't know why. I always thought she was like the same age as RWBY. But it just kind of made me feel uncomfortable for a lot of people that are so obsessed with the Maka Soul ship. I'm like, people, you are aware these guys are children, right?
It will make no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Bill, if that creeps you out, I recommend staying out of Pokemon fan stuff.
I do, because again, it's so creepy when people are like, oh, we want Ash to be with this girl. And it's like, people, these are like 10 years old. Like I feel like shipping when someone's like 16 to 18, that's where I feel like that's like valuable. Not valuable, viable, I should say.
Valid.
Yeah, like, you know, that's not too creepy, quote unquote. But when people are like, oh my god, I want to see these two hook up, it's like, it rubs me the wrong way. Also...
Yeah, who does that?
Also, the little clip where they showed, like, Soul and, like, Maka's, like, souls. Weird. Like, I don't know why. I don't think this is in the first episode, I could be wrong, but I love Maka's, like, angry soul glare. Like, I don't know why, that just tickles me. I think the one thing I would say about Maka's analysis compared to RWBY's wasn't as funny as before, but I think I need to watch more Soul Eater to get some of the references.
Probably.
Yeah, so, like, do you guys have any, like, comments regarding, like, the humor or the references in the Maka section?
Not really.
I like how it was written overall. I thought it recapped Maka and Soul's story pretty well.
I guess if we're acknowledging the story aspect, I mean, I guess it's kind of spoiled to me, like, how the relationship's going to form, but you know what? I think this is the moment that actually hooked me on Soul Eater, because when it came to, like, Krona's analysis,
yeah,
they were mostly
well, Bill, keep in mind, But Bill, keep in mind, this isn't an episode with an invincible character, so they're going to spoil stuff.
Mate, let it go, man. The show is hot right now. They don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet. So, big shocker. This franchise ended in 2013. So, you know what? If you haven't seen it, tough luck.
That's because they didn't animate anything after.
They just like to make that joke.
It's not funny anymore.
I hate that joke. In fact, I'm going to go on a full-on rant. I told her it should not stretch that far. And what were we talking about again? Oh yes, Maka. Tell me, mate, do you want to make any more comments regarding after your invincible comment, or was that it?
Nah, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to make that gag.
Alright, fair enough. I think what kind of hooked me on solely to eventually check out the first episode now, compared to when Cronus episode was, one, I might have been a bit bitter that Venom lost that episode, you know, definitely not biased. But I think it's also where Cronus was more interested on a bad guy, well, semi-bad guy sort of story. Whereas, because when Cronus introduced, I'm assuming that's when the story kind of gets a bit more serious and stuff like that, like kind of going into like the dark phase of the story.
That's when the Black Blood was officially more prominent.
Right, yeah. So, but then when obviously learn about Maka and Soul, for instance, there's a lot of moments where they're like very playful and stuff like that. Like the freaking moment when she hits him over the head with a book. Like, I've always been obsessed with those anime gags where a character gets hit on the head and it's just that bump. Like, I to this day, that is still my favorite anime gag. But yeah, it was the fact like Maka and Soul came off as like very playful and, you know, even though it revealed what happens at the end of their story, they actually showed, not just showing it like how well their bond is, but also explained it very well. Like, Soul comes off as a bit of an edgy person who's like, I'm a badass all the time, but in deep down he truly feels as though he needs someone like Maka. And a similar case though, Maka needs someone like Soul who's, you know, a bit more like not by the books and is, you know, has to teach her like, you know, sometimes you can be a little like bit of a douche, I guess you'll say.
Would you say that this analysis was absolute cinema, though, Bill?
I love the fact they referenced that as well.
You can buy that on their store, apparently.
You've been able to for a while.
I don't know why that whole absolute cinema thing's starting to peak this year, because that meme's been around for a while, but I just love it. Like, I still love the freaking... I was gonna say, we've been doing that since January for Kratos Asura. Yeah, but I mean, that joke has been around since like a few years now, but then all of a sudden this year it's like referenced everywhere now. I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm like Spider-Man, like everywhere I go, I see his face, and it's just a Kratos cinema on the board.
I was thinking the Asura cinema without the arm.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, can we just get RWBY and Maka doing it now, please? Can someone edit that? We're friends with a few artists. Whoever does it, you get... I don't know, you get a lads debate of your choice. Oh god, Purple, don't draw a picture! God damn it, you'll do chess versus checkers!
Within reason.
Also, I found this funny as well, when they showed freaking Maka decking Cronus in the face, like, when it shows it in the anime form, then it cuts to the manga, like, I'm looking forward to when I get to that moment.
The other thing was like, and there goes our budget.
Yeah, it's just also funny, like, when you compare it to like when RWBY tried to punch someone in the face and they got freaking oofed on, and then you just see Maka just decking one of the main villains in the face. I'm like, damn, this girl's got hands. Yeah, overall, like, I felt as though story-wise, the analysis was really interesting, and it finally got me to check out Soul Eater, which, depending on how good the anime is, I might even eventually check out the manga. And do you know, I'm not sure if you guys saw this, apparently there was something that dropped for Soul Eater recently, after this episode came out.
Yeah, it was like an art book or some kind.
Yeah, and apparently rumors is the creator of Soul Eater is talking about potentially doing a remake, so it's like, ooh, Death Battle curse strikes again. Except...
Kinda did.
Except, you know, we kind of wanted the Death Battle curse to go to the other thing, but this is also a welcomed one. But, yeah, overall, I thought the analysis for both RWBY and Maka was solid. Like, you know, RWBY's one was a bit more funnier, had a few better edits in my opinion. Of course, I am just being biased because I just love the Roblox oof sound. Maka's
Yeah, I mean, it also just meant more to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you guys have any final comments before we get to the fight? Or, let's be real here, we're just here to talk about the fight.
I like the analysis quite a lot for both of them in general.
Yeah, same. I thought they did really well. And you know what else they did really well? This fight. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, as much as I would definitely say this episode is just behind Master Chief versus Doomslayer, the fight alone might just, like, beat Master Chief versus Doomslayer. Because, first of all, like, we weren't sure if they were going to get Lindsay to return for RWBY. She did. We have officially had...
Y'all doubted.
We've all officially had every RWBY Death Battle with the main cast. I mean, I know there's also a DBX, but that episode never came to light. Sorry, Michael. But, yeah, also, let's also just talk about the style of this animation. Like, it's definitely more inspired by RWBY than it is Soul Eater, because, you know, Soul Eater's hand-drawn and stuff like that, and very stylish as well, I will say. Like, definitely recommend watching Soul Eater just from the animation standpoint. But you can easily tell this fight is taking a lot of RWBY inspirations, from just the background, the lighting, and just the character models.
Oh, for sure.
Luis said he was going to do his best to make the episode a 6 out of 10. No, really, that was a quote he said.
Also, maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but it feels as though Maka and RWBY have a very 3D sort of style, but I feel as though Soul is more 2D in comparison, because we haven't had many shots with him, because the only shots with him is one, the piano scene, which definitely has a hand-drawn element to it, and then him walking alongside Maka and then assembling into the side form. Also, the freaking drawing of RWBY as Little Red, like, and I love that shot of RWBY just gleefully smiling as Maka's just looking up and down at the paper. The moment that happened, I was like, this is going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, apparently Larry Winwood did the drawing for that. He's like, I snuck my way into 200. And it's even funny. It's even funnier. Ben decided to make that his banner on social media now.
Oh no,
I saw that earlier.
Is that on Twitter or on his BlueSky?
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. I don't know about BlueSky yet.
Alright, I'm just going to show you because I am following Ben on there. Ah, no, his BlueSky is still good old Ben. Alright, well, I'll put it on screen for people, because we got to talk about this episode. So, okay, so far, it's captured the style and even the personality of the characters. Also, apparently, RWBY is a Maka Soul shipper confirmed.
I love that line, like, oh, your boyfriend can turn into a scythe. That's awesome. And how, like, flustered Maka gets.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That was great.
Yeah, but how did they capture the sort of style of RWBY's fighting? Because it's, you know, I think it's pretty safe to say, when it comes to RWBY as of late, some of their animation fights could reach from, yeah, to, eh. This fight, I feel like it even captured Monty's style really well. Like, if you were to, like, put, like, this animation next to, like, Ruby Rose's, like, Red trailer, like, they are practically, like, same speed, same, like, choreography and stuff like that. And also, I just love the shot they recreated of RWBY jumping into the sky and, like, eclipsing the moon, like... Again, a great callback, I love that. And also, facial expressions, like, compared to the other RWBY episodes, like, it's when you look at all RWBY episodes, from Yang, from Wise to Blade to RWBY, which is only funny now realizing that each RWBY episode has been backwards. So we've had WooLooMVP.
Not entirely backwards, but I get your point.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, yeah, true. If you switch Wise and Blake out. But yeah, like, just look at the facial expression or animation, like when you compare it to Yang's, then Wise's, then Blake's, and then RWBY's, like, it's like they got better each time they did a RWBY episode. Like, even to the detail, like, if you were to slow down when RWBY's, like, fangirling, you see the eyes blinking and, like, even the pupils changing sizes and stuff like that. Like, again, they didn't need to go into that much detail, but the fact they went through that much effort just for this episode, I mean, it's the 200th episode, but it really did show that they wanted the characters to look alive as they're fighting. But yeah, like, I absolutely just love the choreography of this fight, like, and it also does a little bit of the slow frame rates, like, at certain scenes to capture, like, the tensity of things, like when RWBY does the whole Rose Tornado, like, you can kind of see it, they slow it down a little bit just to show, like, Maka deflecting most of the attacks. And then I also just love that moment when RWBY is about to be hit by the soul attack, and you see her, like,
Or also just the face she makes when she's gonna be when she realizes, uh-oh, and she gets like pulled towards Maka on the back end of Maka's side. That face is fantastic.
I know. She's like, "Ha, you missed." Nope.
Get over here.
It reminds me of those like Looney Tunes gags, you know, when they have that like cane that pulls the character off stage. That's what it reminded me of. Just like, nope, your show's over.
True.
Also, I just got to this moment as well, when like they charge at each other, RWBY does like a petal burst thing. You notice that if you slow it down, she splits into two to go around Maka. Like, that is so cool. Once again, they could have easily just had it be like she just goes around her, but the fact if you slow it down, you can see she splits in two like she does at one point during, I think it was around I think it was either volume 7 or 8.
She started doing that in volume 4.
Oh, was it? Okay, to be fair, it's been a while since I've seen volume 4, but even then, that is still really cool, like, how they captured that moment. Also, the freaking Maka's punching and smacking RWBY, and RWBY's like, "Stop hitting me!" In fact, it kind of sounds like Lindsay kind of goes into a volume 1 voice when she says "me."
That was fantastic.
It's the fact she has such a blank stare as well after each smack. It's like, like, I guess when you have a sister like Yang and you train with her frequently, you're kind of used to being punched in the face. Oh,
that makes sense, actually.
It just cracked me up. Just like, I felt she was just gonna go.
Oh, that reminds me of someone else in RWBY's analysis I didn't bring up. When it says like trained by, they did not include Maria. RIP.
So anyway, back to the fight. So honestly, I can't really talk about anything else really. Well, aside from when we get to the inevitable death, like, I just absolutely love the style of the fight, how fast paced it is, and I think May brought it up as well. Like, the dialogue is just it captures both characters perfectly. Like, just even based off the first episode with like Soul and Maka, like, it really captured like the Maka's cleverness, when she realizes how RWBY's soul works, and just, you know, Soul like even complimenting RWBY as well, saying like, not bad. You know, like, showing no disrespect between the characters.
I know that all three of these VAs...
Oh, I'm going to be going back to that.
I know all these VAs weren't most likely in the same room, but with the way they bounced off each other, it felt like they were.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything to say before we get to the next half of this fight, which we just have to talk about the musical moment, because we're also going to talk about the music.
Dude, I was about to say, like, the fact Luis was just like, "Hey, you want to see me animate the Black Blood dress? Here you go."
There you are, anime fans. You finally got Maka in the black dress animated.
Yeah, that's another case of Death Battle animating a thing before the official series does.
Jesus Christ, man. Japan, you're slacking.
So let's see, there was Ichigo, Vegeta's alter ego. I think there's another one, I just can't remember what it was.
The only difference, Maka won. As we said so earlier.
Actually, something else they kind of did, which RWBY hasn't even done yet. I mean, unless you count Chibi. RWBY actually uses a gravity bullet to make Maka float in the air. It's like, oh damn, we finally actually get to see how that bullet was meant to work. So I remember questioning that, like, in the Chibi, like, when RWBY's testing out the weapon and she fires to gravity, I'm like, what even is the point of firing that? Hey, Death Battle, like, oh, this is why. It's like, that makes sense. RWBY, why don't you use that more often?
I say the same thing about Weiss and time dilation.
Writers.
Ruby,
That's why.
Ruby, when Volume 10 comes round, have these characters be cool more. Also, yeah, we kind of have to talk about this moment. Freaking again, I'm not sure if this is shown in the anime yet, or if this is going to be shown in the manga and then we read it. Maka freaking pulling out the suit and playing. This is a cool detail as well, because someone in the comments of Death Battle, a pianist, actually reacted to it. When you see Soul's fingers hitting the keys, it's the correct keys for the music playing in the background as well. That's like,
that is attention to detail, and I feel like that may have been. I don't know if it actually did, but I feel like in a way maybe like Brandon could maybe help Luis with that.
Yeah, it's just so cool, like the fact they got to that. And also, at first I thought, because again, the music or the thing they got for this fight is Cassie. Or Cassie, sorry.
I was going to say, which one? They got two.
Yeah, because one of them's Japanese, which I thought that was Cassie as well, but it turns out, no, that isn't. I was like, oh, fair enough. Because she actually sounds like Cassie singing. I don't have the name for her, but she is in the pinned comments for Death Battle at the moment. So I'll put it on screen.
So this was, I believe it's pronounced Mira. She is a VTuber, mostly with a design based off of Weiss.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about her ages ago.
Oh, that is sick.
She did fantastic on this track with Casey, and like they both worked so well together on it.
Yeah, and I was actually saying this to Sean before we started recording. Like, with how good like Soul was with the piano, I just kind of want to see now who would win in a piano off between Kilgore and like Soul. Like, like I want to see a piano off between the two.
You know, that's something we haven't done in a long time. Random polls from our podcast. There's your poll, guys.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't actually done like a random poll once. So there you are, people. Who rocked the piano better, part 2, Kilgore or Soul? Let's be real.
Whoever wins fights Double D.
Okay, let's be real here. Like, we know Soul's gonna win the poll.
Probably.
Also, this is actually a cool detail that I didn't notice until someone pointed out in the comments of the Death Battle again. Which, that's actually I do want to, similar to like Kyle versus what's his name again?
Simone?
Yeah,
Simone.
Yeah, Simone. See, I was just testing you. I was just making sure you guys remembered. You passed the test. Yeah.
Do you remember what show Simone's from?
But yeah, before that. So, when I was looking at the comments, I was quite surprised at how respectful the comment section was again. And I'm like, wow, this is one of the few RWBY Death Battles where the comments are actually positive. What? Are we in the Upside Down?
It's just a case where everyone comes together because they know what episode 200 really means to Death Battle.
Yeah, true. I feel like this episode has a lot of that positive vibe as well. I mean, as positive as you can get from a character being sliced in half. But yeah, like, I'm trying to remember what it was. Yeah, when Ruby activates her, like, Silver Eyes, do you actually notice when, after Maka delivers that killing blow, the black blood eyes are actually dissipated? They're back to normal. Because it shows that Ruby managed to cure away the black blood. I was like, that is so cool.
Also, the dress is white.
Yeah, it's like, again, a detail they could have easily just had not be there just to save money. So, look, Mark is still in the black dress, but it's like, nope, we're gonna actually go into detail about this.
Yeah. I also want to talk about how like the Silver Eyes scene kind of saved the end of the fight for me.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, because when I saw that whole thing about how like Soul can basically just like turn off someone's soul, I heard that and I'm like, okay, he's gonna turn off Ruby's aura and Maka's just gonna kill her. This is exactly how the fight's gonna go. So when he started doing the piano thing, I was just like, oh yeah, here it comes. And I'm just waiting for it to happen. And then once Ruby's aura breaks, Silver Eyes, and it starts working. I'm like, okay, hold up.
Yeah, it was a really good fake out.
So, yeah, no, that added the tension back.
Yeah, because you could easily see, like, either character giving their final blow and it ending in, like, you know, one of it could have at that moment I was thinking, oh my god, have they actually found a way for RWBY to win? But then I also like that little moment when like you can kind of hear Soul panicking because again, an internet fake out because you can see he's freaking out because oh my god, my trump card failed. So you know the fact they actually show Soul briefly panic, but I just love that determination on Marka's face. Like again, she's unlocking her inner RWBY, like, and you know, I guess we got to that moment now. The death itself. I think out of all the RWBY deaths we've had, like regarding whether the RWBY character wins or loses, yeah, this is definitely the most brutal death.
Yeah,
I'd actually say
I believe that.
Not. I would say it's not gruesome, which I am thankful for because it's just one slice and then just rose petals.
I mean, but then you briefly see her kind of split in half and she's screaming. It's like, that's pretty grim.
It is pretty brutal, yeah, though. Like, overall, it's the most brutal one.
Yeah. But, hey, RWBY fans, before you hit that dislike button, because I was actually quite surprised to see how many people would disagree with this episode, but again, people are like, you know, we've already talked about, like, I'll go into more when we actually talk about the analysis portion of this bit, but, yeah, I actually kind of like the fact that there is a chance that RWBY's not completely dead, and, you know, Soul was about
to I want to talk about this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, okay, first of all, when I first heard that, oh yeah, Soul can, like, eat souls, and I remembered that from Venom vs. Krona, I was just thinking, okay, so that's how the fight's going to end. RWBY's existence is just going to get erased. The fact Maka, like, stops him and does that whole, like, an honest soul thing, which is a callback to the first episode. And then I saw a screenshot of a YouTube comment saying that there's actually a way for Maka to, like, resurrect RWBY if she wants to, which, to be perfectly honest, based on how, like, she was at the end, I feel like she would. That is my headcanon. Don't at me.
And Soul Eater, Maka's not a cold-hearted person, so yeah, she would probably bring RWBY back after all that. She's not Krona, guys.
That too.
Yeah, it's also the fact, like, what was also kind of cool about it, because someone even revealed this in the comments, probably the same comment mates bringing it up. If Soul even did eat RWBY's soul, well, they would have to do their entire trial all over again, so they're not meant to devour innocent souls. So they would have been seen as a villain. That was actually something people were actually worried about regarding this episode. They were really worried they were going to make Maka seem like the villain, which at first it did seem like they were starting off that way.
Yeah, I feel like if this was old Death Battle, they would have done that.
Yeah, I actually buy that.
Like, Death Battle in the earlier seasons, like, would have absolutely gone, like, would have gone that far.
I mean, if this was like early Death Battle, RWBY probably would have won.
I think I made the comment in my video, like, if Soul Eater didn't end, RWBY actually would have won.
That's true.
And then watch, Volume 10 is going to give her an insane buff. Although then again, Soul could still turn off her aura.
Also, RWBY's been around for like over 10 years and she's never gained a buff aside the Silver Eyes. I'll be surprised if it's taken 10 seasons for it to...
It's a joke!
I know it's a joke, you don't have to explain that joke if it's a joke! I feel like I'm a Joker right now.
Oh, speaking of which, the post-analysis, I quite like it.
Yeah, now, I do have some critiques on how they try to justify this sounded a bit... I know they no longer do the whole, this fight was really close. It feels as though they were trying to kind of hint towards that, though.
Well, I think the thing some people need to keep in mind, I know you were talking about Classic Mandarin, and he did bring up some solid points, but it might just be that Speedy, who was the researcher of Maka, couldn't interpret it the same way, or it just didn't calculate the same way everyone else said it would.
Yeah, like, the thing that I do agree with them when they were doing, like, the full, like, analysis time, I was like, okay, yeah, Maka is definitely stronger than RWBY. Like, RWBY has never shown any really strong physical strength feat aside. If you really wanted to be generous and give her, like, she managed to kick, like, a Grim through that military jet plane, but again, we don't actually know how sturdy that ship was. there's like, okay, you might have something there, but given even just the first episode of Soldier I saw, it's like Maka has shown she can cut through like metal and stuff like that with little ease. Like, I've got to give it to her strength. The speed thing, I'm kind of skeptical on. Even beforehand, I said before from everything I learned from my friend that Maka sounds like she's a lot faster than RWBY, and from what you see like in the analysis, they even acknowledge that Maka is slightly faster, but we're gonna say they tie, and I'm like, but wait, you just acknowledged that Maka is most likely faster.
I mean, they did that with Goku and Superman. They said quantifiably Superman is faster, but they're both immeasurable, so the safest bet is to say they tie.
Well, yeah,
And also, like,
they
they never gave an exact number for these speed feats.
Yep.
They just did like faster than light, slightly slower than light.
Yeah.
Like, there's no actual number for those feats that they showed.
Yeah. Well, thanks to the classic man I mentioned before, he actually showed that Maka is keeping up with people who are shooting like 30 lasers at once, and she's keeping up with them like with little ease. It's like, oh wow, yeah, this feat wasn't even brought up in the Death Battle, not even referenced in the sidebars. And this is going to go into a critique I had. Well, it's more so like how they did this episode compared to how they did another episode. So let's talk about the skills or Cyphery. I do love that. Like,
bruh, Scythery.
I know, I love that. Now, okay, like first of all, you know, the power thing. Yeah, they already established that, you know, Maka has got better power, so it's like, yeah, that's true. But the fact they tried to say RWBY was better skilled with a scythe, I'm going to have to press a good old X to doubt on that. Like, okay.
I mean,
go ahead.
One thing you could bring up is RWBY has 4 more years on Maka.
Here's a way I can describe it for some people, though, if they want to believe RWBY succeeds. It's like playing against somebody who uses auto-aim. Like, I would say Soul is the equivalent of auto-aim for Maka, since he kind of guides her. It's not actually her doing all the work.
Well, that's the thing, though.
That's not a bad analogy.
Right, but in a way, that kind of makes it sound like she's at a disadvantage then, because Maka has someone that's also guiding, like, well, the weapon. Like, he can. Basically, RWBY's going up against 2 people there that both have control. And as we've seen in the Death Battle, Maka can also wield, like, Soul, even if he's not fully, like, you know, in control of the scythe movement. And they even acknowledged that as well in the episode. So, the reason this is bugging me so much, because let's go back to a previous Death Battle, which is also a very one-sided episode, probably even more so than this, and that is Master Chief versus Doomslayer. They had no problems showing why Doomslayer absolutely slaughtered Master Chief. Like, literally, the only advantage he had was the AI. And even in the analysis, they even kind of take the piss out of the fact Doomslayer was physically stronger than Master Chief. Like, even joked about that. This episode, though, I know people would like to throw bias around as much, but they use it so wrong. I feel as though they would be more generous with this episode because it was a Monty episode. They wanted to make it sound like RWBY had a better chance than most people think, but like, even just based on the analysis they're giving to me, I'm like, I'm sorry guys, you're making it still sound really one-sided, like. But they just said, oh, let's just give RWBY Cyphery anyway. You know, that's kind of my gripe. If you're going to be like this with Master Chief versus Doomslayer, where you're like ecstatic showing how much Doomslayer absolutely slaughters in this fight, and not even just that fight, even Deku versus Miles, they kind of go into that sort of road showing like how strong Deku is and a lot of things. But this episode, they were trying to like justify like why they're even in speed and why she's better with a scythe. That just rubs me the wrong way, if you know what I mean. I think that's...
It could...
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I think while you could say it could be that, it also could just be like what they get from the actual argument they made when they were debating the outcome. It's like, I think that's the thing people forget. Like, it's not just based off 2 researchers' notes and everything. There's also arguing and points that they have to come to an agreement on. So
yeah, from what I remember being told, like, basically how the process works when they're like debating is that the researchers have to come to a unanimous conclusion.
Right, so it's possible that based off the arguments that both the lead researchers did, no one could come to a solid conclusion for speed, whereas the arguments for this, again, comparing it like I did to like having Soul be like auto-aim was probably a good case of why people said RWBY takes Scythery, because she doesn't need that kind of assistance.
Yeah, I mean, I personally disagree with that, but I could definitely buy that. Maybe they were just really stuck between, like, oh, like, who is the superior one out of these two? Which is like, okay, you're fair enough. I just feel as though, and this is just me giving my thoughts. If you're gonna do a one-sided matchup, and you know, in the analysis, you heavily emphasize just why a certain character screwed, like why was Miles and Master Chief screwed in their fight. It feels kind of disingenuous being kind of more lenient with this fight. Because even after this episode, most people in the comments, in a respectful way, did come to the conclusion that, yeah, Marcus should have taken more advantages. Luckily, it wasn't toxic, which, again, it still surprised me just how positive this episode was. But I guess going back into the more positive aspect, like, I did find the end quote by Boomstick hilarious, when how he reacted to Soul's full name.
Yeah, it's Soul Evans.
Yeah, I never knew that.
No.
Also, weird way to end it, but okay.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, wonder if I didn't say when we made a prediction for a reason.
Yeah, so... You know, my final say regarding this episode, in terms of RWBY fights, this is the best RWBY fight we've ever gotten. I'm sorry, Weiss, my girl, my queen. Your episode's good. I love your episode, but I'm sorry to say, your potential White Rose shipper friend has definitely got the better episode. And overall, just fight was good, analysis was entertaining, and hey, add another series that I've gotten into thanks to Death Battle. I finally watched Soul Eater, so once I finish the first season, I'll let you guys know my full thoughts. Do you guys have any final quotes regarding this episode before we suck away to the next one?
I'll let Sean go first.
I think, honestly, as a whole, this was a fantastic episode. Probably going to be in my top 5, depending on how the rest of this goes. And I just love the way they ended the video itself.
So, there's a lot of things in this episode that do actually mean a lot to me. The use of the phrase "keep moving forward" in RWBY's analysis, like how close they made the fight look in the animation, RWBY, you know, getting advantage acknowledgements, and of course that "thank you, Monty" tribute at the end.
Even in the description, it's very sweet.
Yeah. I would also like to give my ranking for all the RWBY episodes.
Yeah, I suppose we have time for that.
At number 4, Weiss v Mitsuru. Number 3, Yang vs. Tifa. And appropriately taking the silver medal, given the silver eyes, is RWBY Maka. And I'm sorry, like, me personally, it's like, I don't think anything's going to top Leafy Nikasa.
Alright then, I'll probably save my ranking for another day because we're on a time limit. So if that's all our thoughts, let us shine a light on the next time.